Alright guys, and then I say hello and welcome back to a new episode of TENSHI 2. So, the best picture we could possibly start with so far, but let's continue. Turning about, I was greeted with this sight of Rose, standing towards me with a big smile on her face, and not just a big smile, they could do better because they could have the cut here, but yeah, we have to work with it. As the blonde hair flowed about like a golden cloak, my eyes were quickly drawn to her ample bosom, which was bouncing about excitedly, straightening the t-shirt she wore. Ah, Rose. As I continued to stare in surprise, Rose came to a stop in front of me, her chest heaving with every breath she took. Her shirt clung to the generous proportions, perspiration causing it to fit tightly to her ample curves, as they bounced up and down while she caught her breath. I wasn't expecting you. Did TENSHI call you here? Yeah. I just got a call a few minutes ago, but I wasn't expecting to see you out here. Why not? I told you before that I go out for a run around the lab perimeters every day. Oh, you don't remember that, do you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, that's alright, I understand. We all have some holes in our memories after. I know, forget I said something. However you be doing, TENSHI's been keeping us very busy and well, I've been okay, just spending time with my family, that's all, making up for... I still remember the day, Rose. Every time I think of that fire, I swear I can hear my parents screaming for help, and... At this, Rose grabbed my wrist, prompting me to look into her eyes, as she gave a slight shake of her head. Don't do this to yourself, Kenji. I understand you're wanting to be with your family after what happened, but that fire is gone. It may have been real once, but it's not anymore. It's nothing but a bad dream now. I just wish that bad dream was one of the things that I forgot when time got tossed around. So, what about you and the others? What have you been doing? What about Michelle? Any luck finding a way to... No, she's still trapped, and I don't mind admitting that we had a bad scare after you left last week. Rose quickly filled me in on what happened right after I had left. So, she can't touch anything, and she hasn't had anything to eat or drink since? I know, we were all in panic after we realized that. I bet she hasn't gotten any worse, has she? No, there's been no sign of dehydration or wasting. Nothing you'd expect in a situation like that. The only thing we've been able to come up with is that the constant exposure to the quantum forces outside of her own reality is somehow sustaining her, keeping Michelle alive. Right now, all we have is guesswork. We haven't been able to examine Michelle's physical body directly since the whole thing started. TENSHI wouldn't let us go anywhere near the time window until after you had left. To be honest, I think he was afraid that we'd get pulled in like Michelle was. Well, at least she's alive, so we have a chance of saving her. I know, but I'm still worried. Don't forget that time travel has a strong effect on a person's body. I'm worried that the longer she's left inside the time pocket she's trapped in, the more likely she'll suffer some kind of brain damage or maybe even worse. Well, I guess you know about that, what with your studies in brain chemistry and biology. Rose managed another slight smile. I'm glad that you didn't lose all your memories from before. Still, yes, time is definitely a factor here. There's just no way of knowing how long she can survive being trapped in time like that. And then there's our new recruit. New recruit? Oh wait, Tensai did say something about finding someone to take Michelle's place, didn't he? He did, and well, I don't think if it's just the situation or what, but she didn't make a good first impression on me or Kiyo. So Michelle's replacement is a girl? What's her name? What's she like? Her name is Tessa. And as for she's like, I don't really know much about her, except that she's a former cheerleader. A cheerleader? A cheerleader seemed like a strange choice of person to call in to replace Michelle, but I had to admit that the biologist like Rose also seemed like an unkindly person to also play the role of a sword-wielding, time-hopping knight. Listen, why don't you go on ahead? I'm sure Tensai will handle instructions, and I'd like to finish up my run before heading down. Okay, sure. Nodding, Rose broke into a jog. But before she had taken more than a few steps, she paused and looked at me. Kenji, it is really good to see you again. I mean that. I know, thanks. Rose gave me another quick smile before again breaking into a run, leaving me alone to make my way towards the entrance to the lab. I pressed the call button and a few moments passed before a familiar voice sounded. Tensai. Sorry. State your business. It's me, Kenji. Ah, good. We've been waiting for you. Come down to the lab. I've someone here I'd like you to meet. A moment later, the elevator dinged and the shutter door slid open. I headed inside, pressing the button for the lowest floor. After several seconds, the elevator dinged again and the door slid open, revealing Tensai standing there, along with someone else. Hello, Kenji. It's been a while. Hello, Grandpa. Allow me to introduce you to our new commander and operations manager. Kenji, meet Tessa, a good friend of mine. Tessa, this is my grandson Kenji. A pleasure to meet you, Kenji. Do we shake hands or should I bow instead? Shaking hands is fine. With that, Tessa held out her hand, which I took in my own. And as she gave it a vigorous shaking, I examined the newest member of our team. Cute. That was the first thing I thought as I looked Tessa over. She was without a doubt as cute as a button. She had large blue eyes, brimming with energy, and pink hair that was done up in pigtails. She also had an ample chest and long, shapely legs that seemed to stretch out forever. And at the moment, she was grinning infectiously as she released her hand from an energetic shaking. So, she's going to be the new commander? That's right, Tessa's been helping with the Taimono project for quite some time now. Thought I didn't know about the Taimono at the time. Tensai kept that part to himself. I had Tessa overseeing another facility that I had managed to secure, which handles essentials like our raw materials, shipping and handling of critical supplies, and so on. Basically, she's been making certain that our operations and the things needed to keep it going remain under the radar of the government. And I see. So, Tessa, when did you find out? That Tensai there had built an honest-to-goodness time machine? Not until he called me up last week to let me know that he needed my help. And to be honest, when I found out what we've all been doing and what happened. And the rest of it I thought I'd have a mega brain meltdown. I know how you feel. I remember feeling the same when I found out about it myself. So, if you didn't know about the time window at first, then I hope you weren't too mad when you found out that Grandpa had been keeping you in the dark. Well, I had always known that he was working on something really important and that he wanted to make sure that nobody found out about it, so I wasn't too mad. Besides, if I had to be completely honest, if he had told me he'd invented a time window machine, I'd wondered if old age was catching up with his brain. Not that I'd blame you for that. It is a difficult notion to grasp. So, if you don't mind me asking, why did you choose her for this? I mean, no offense, Tessa, but you'd still like to hear what makes me qualified for hooking up with Tensai's TENSHI, huh? I found myself throwing my confusion at this. Time TENSHI? That's what Tessa has taken to calling our little group of time travelers. I'm afraid she spends more time reading comic books and manga than on her studies. Well, I figured that if we were a team, we needed a team name. We are all girls, and girl teams tend to have angel or something like that. I worked into the name. And since you're Japanese... And TENSHI is Japanese for angel. Yes, so you've explained. And alliteration works really well with something like this. I mean, just sound it out. Time TENSHI! It rolls off the tongue really nicely, don't you think? At this point, I was feeling a bit worried. Tessa seemed to be as energetic and enthusiastic as Q, and she seemed to be treating this like it was some kind of game. I found myself wondering if she was grounded enough in reality to handle the kind of responsibility that Michelle's job demanded. When Tensai looked at me, he raised an eyebrow, almost like he could tell what I was thinking at this point. And to answer your question, Kenji, Tessa's qualifications are that she has good skills in physics and machinery. Perhaps not as good as other girls, as she's still pursuing a college degree, but she's still quite knowledgeable in terms of computers. She is also a highly skilled martial artist with excellent gymnastic talent. And perhaps most importantly, she's proven that she's capable of keeping a secret, as well as respecting the rules I've laid out for her. That's right! Fact is, I'm looking forward to a chance to breaking out my black belt and kicking some future butt. Given our situation with Mizuki and Bunny, I decided that perhaps now would be a good time to add some extra brain to our team of brains. I guess I can't argue with that. Well, it's nice to meet you, Tessa. I'm looking forward to learning more about you. Since you're Tensai's grandson, I'm sure we'll get along. Although, would you mind doing me a big favor? Well, okay, I guess. What kind of favor? Tessa put her hands together in a pledging manner. Could you please be sure not to call me cute? Out of all the favors I could have imagined Tessa asking me, I had to admit this one didn't even come close to being among them. Seriously, I hate being called cute. Hate it with a passion. I've had people calling me cute all my life, and I really appreciate if I didn't have Tensai's grandson doing that as well. I've already had to put up with it from the girls he's got running around here. I recommend you oblige her on this, Kenji. Well, alright, for though you are well attractive, so if the word cute does slip out, just remind me, okay? I swear I wouldn't mean it in a bad way. Okay, I can't work with that. I can't work with that, especially since you're Tensa's grandson and all. I guess I could let you off without breaking anything. Thanks. I got a feeling that things were going to be more interesting from here on out. Now that the introductions are out of the way, why don't we go to the time window room? I'd like to show you some of the modifications we've made here and brief you on some changes I've decided to implement. I got a bad feeling when I heard this, but I couldn't put it down to anything other than my nerves acting up after all that had happened. So I just nodded and walked behind Tensai and Tessa as they started towards the time window room. Alright, then I would say thanks for joining and thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did so, just leave a thumbs up, leave a commentary, and then I'll see you in the next episode when we will be back in the time window room. And then, if you don't want to miss the next episode or any further episodes, just click on the subscribe button and then I'll say bye for now, your pacemaker.